8 o'clock. This is W6CDT. And I'm Net Control for the SOARA Tuesday Weekly Net. This net is open to all licensed amateurs. Do not have to be a SOARA member. In fact, we welcome visitors and guests. We want to maximize participation in the amateur radio hobby. So be radioactive and get on the net. Before we begin, I didn't hear any emergency or priority traffic, but I will ask for any traffic at this time. Well, nothing heard. So first we're going to do announcements, then check-ins, and then we'll do a discussion. Topic for the net this evening is what's the best resource you would recommend for learning more about amateur radio for a newcomer? And so with that, I'll ask, are there any announcements for the net? If so, please call now.
N6 RPR.
N6 RPR acknowledged. Let's see if we've got any other check-ins, and then we'll go pick you up. Meant any other announcements come now. Okay, it looks like you're it. Dan, go ahead.
N6 RPR. I just wanted to welcome anybody out there listening to join us in our Mesh Core channel. We've gained 3 or 4 new members to the room in the last week, so people are catching on and get it. So if anyone needs any help, feel free to reach out to me, and I will send you all the information you need. But would love to see more members using the room. That's all I have. N6 RPR, back to Net Control.
Well, thank you, Dan. Yeah, Mesh Core is a great resource for lots of types of uses. So yes, just get the information about the SOARA channel and send messages. It's not soaring forward right now, so you only get a response if somebody else is out there. I think that's correct. Is that correct, Ed?
That is correct. Although if you leave your node plugged in and turned on, when you open up your app, you'll get all your missed messages off your node. But you are correct, we don't actually have soaring forward.
Roger. And I guess I will note that at least on my node, I have some problems with that those saved messages, and I'm not sure what that's about. So I'm going to see if I can figure that out and try to help others if they have the same problems. So the other, anything else, Dan?
That's all I have. We all have funny issues with it, so it's kind of a fun thing. We're all learning it together. So just encourage everyone to jump in. N6 RPR, back to Net Control.
Okay, Dan, thanks. And so I have my typical filling for the propagator announcement. Ray, K6NOV, is the editor or director, publications director, and he publishes the propagator, and he's always looking for articles from members about little things that are going on, and we all try and write something. It doesn't have to be long or complicated. It should be related to amateur radio or technology, computers, that sort of stuff. That sort of directly or indirectly ties into amateur radio. But he would love to get your article and help you get it in the propagator. His email, of course, is k6nov@soara.org. And that's all I have for right now. I will take check-ins in any order. Give me a minute or two to write them down, and then we'll continue. So anyone who'd like to check into the net, please come now.
Alpha Echo 6 Hotel, Ray.
Alpha Juliet 6 Echo Echo, Kevin in Anaheim.
Kilo 6 November, Oscar Victor, Ray.
N6 ESG, Glenn, Mission Viejo.
KO6 AIM, Ted, Rancho Mission Viejo.
Okay, that's a good start. I have AE6H Ray. Of course, I had N6 RPR before that. Let's see, I can't read my writing here. I got Kevin. Looks like Kevin, you'll have to give me your call sign again. My pen ran out of ink right there. K6NOV Ray, N6 ESG Glenn, KO6 AIM, Rancho Mission Viejo, Ted, I think it was. And anyone else? First of all, Kevin, give me your call again.
Good evening, everybody. It's Kevin, Alpha Juliet 6 Echo Echo AJ6EE.
Got it. I just couldn't read the day, and I knew it wasn't that kind of call. So, okay, Alpha Juliet 6 Echo Echo. Thank you, Kevin. Okay, is there anyone else would like to join us? Please come now.
Kilo November 6 Alpha Sierra Romeo Dion and Rancho Santa Margarita.
Got it. Got it. Dion, anyone else? Please come now.
Bob. I'm way close.
Hey, Bob, you were a little staticky. Could give me your call again. I should know it, but I don't.
Certainly. November 5, Kilo Zulu Victor.
At November 5, Kilo Zulu Victor. The first part of it was missing. Anyone else like to join us? Please come now. Okay, we're going to try to do a round robin this evening. So you guys can have more time to talk and I can talk less. So first up is N6RPR. N6RPR, please pass it to Ray. You guys only have to write down the call you need to pass it to. Ray, pass it to Kevin, Alpha Juliet 6 Echo Echo. Kevin, pass it to K6NOV Ray. Ray, pass it to Glenn, N6ESG. Glenn, pass it to, I think, Ted, KO6AIR. I got that right. Then you pass it to Kilo November 6 ASR, Dion. And Dion pass it to Bob, N5 Kilo Zulu Victor. And if you can't remember who to pass it to, just pass it back to me, W6AT. So again, the topic is, what resources would you recommend, learning resources would you recommend as being valuable for a new amateur? Or, if you don't want to say anything about that, what resources do you find personally most useful? So with that, we'll go to Dan, W6CDT. Take it away, N6RPR.
Thank you, Dale. N6RPR. By far, I've learned most of what I needed to know to get around, especially when I was super new. YouTube takes a lot of hunting around, but just working through, following YouTube radios, setting up my radio has been probably the best resource for learning. And other than that, joining the club and learning from you guys has been the other biggest learning tool for me. So with that, I will pass it to Ray, AE6H, and 6RPR.
Well, thanks, Dan, and good evening, everybody. This is Ray, AE6H, and yeah, I agree with what Dan says. YouTube is a great resource, a whole lot of good things on there, but I think most important, what certainly helped me and continues to help me the most is, Dan touched on it, join a club. Find an active club like SOARA, join it, but not only join, participate. And participate wholeheartedly, at first at least. Jump in with both feet if you really want to get into the hobby. And networking with other hams, there's almost somebody in the club like SOARA that it has a similar interest to you no matter what they might be. So whether it's DXing or, now the whisper radio or just, you name it. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Join a club and be active in that club. And over to Kevin, AJ6EE, this is AE6H.
And this is Kevin, AJ6EE. By the way, I'm going to put this on my calendar to remind me to join this net more often because, anyways, I need to be a little more active myself. I would completely agree with my previous two gentlemen here. They took a couple of my thoughts. And when I got my ticket in 2017, there used to be this thing in the HRO parking lot. And I went and got my technician and my general. And then there was SOARA, there was other groups, there were probably vendors, there was HRO staff. And I started connecting with people. And most ham people like to teach and tell you what they know. So there's a lot of different spokes that go out from that, and you start learning things. YouTube's good. Definitely join a group. Let me reset. I was going to mention I use AI now to answer questions and talk about antennas and do things. But if you're new and you don't even know what to ask, you can't use AI. You can't use it. So, I think the first line is human, obviously. It's kind of common sense. But anyways, good topic. And I'm going to hand it over to K6NOV.
All right, thanks, everyone, and thanks for running the net, Dale. Yeah, I'm going to reiterate the same thing, YouTube, and I'm going to put in a plug for the propagator. I 3 months back started a link section, recommended links. So everyone kind of mentioned YouTube, and I'm doing the same. But if you found like a really good YouTube video, something you really felt was helpful, send it my way. I'll include it in the propagator so that we can share it with everybody. And if you haven't checked it out already, you can always go grab old propagators and look that up. And I have a few good links in there that I've added in the last few months, so that's a good thing. And then, of course, joining the club is the biggest thing for sure. That's what got me going, and Elmer Saturdays is a great way to just learn more about ham radio. And then I was going to add Groups.io. So, as you may know, our mailing list for SOARA is on Groups.io, and I also belong to a number of groups. And I just pulled it up. I'm going to list a couple. So there's the ARRL Logbook of the World group. Of course, it belongs to SOARA. And then there's the Flying Pigs QRP, the FT891, the Yaesu FT60, QRP Labs, SoCal Soda, WSJTX. So like anytime, like anything you're interested in or whatever that you're using, radio or whatnot, look for the group and follow it. I get a daily digest, and there's lots of good information in there as well. I'm going to pass it over to Glenn, N6ESG, K6NLB.
And are you still there? Well, next up is the KO6 AIM. Take it away, Ted.
Hey, Dale. Thanks for running the net tonight. Kilo Oscar 6 off on your mic, Ted. Someone earlier mentioned it, and I think their mention was that it can be difficult, but I actually do find that using something like ChatGPT or Gemini is helpful for me when it comes to specifically things I'm trying to do on this radio. I agree that not knowing what you don't know is very hard, and that's where having a person where just kind of a general knowledge is helpful. But for me, I found that just using I've been impressed with the ability to be able to dive deeper into menus and figure things out on my radio. So, been grateful for that, and I'll pass it on over to Dion at KN6ARS.
Yeah, this is Dion, KN6ASR. And what I use is I'm going through studying, like for a general. I'll be working through a reference book like Gordo's, but there's always words or something that will jump out at me, because this whole ham radio science is a totally new area for me to think about. And I will just ask questions to my Samsung AI on my phone. I'll get definitions or explanations, then I'll go back to the material I'm looking at in the book, because I got my ticket like 5 years ago, but I'm studying, and it's still also new that it's like putting a pieces of puzzles out there, and I'll have to be filled in. But the best thing is knowing that as a club member, when the time comes, I'll get the real info through the Elmers. KN6ASR over to Bob, N5K2V. KZV. Over to you, Bob.
Thank you, Dion. This is N5KZV. Very first time I licensed, it was nothing but textbooks and help from the local radio club. When I relicensed this time, I did use a lot of stuff on YouTube. I again studied the books. I've got a bad habit of doing that. That got me through technician in general, and right now I'm using a course that's on ham radio prep. You do have to pay for it, of course, but it has been a very, very good course in teaching me stuff that I really had no idea with when I'm studying for extra. I'll agree with everyone else. Joining the club is probably the best thing you could probably do. You got people there that are always willing to help and happy to do it. And with that, I will give it back to Net Control. This is N5KCV.
Well, thank you, Bob. And thanks, everybody, for your responses. Let's see if we can pick anybody else up, and then I'll give you my suggestions, and then I have another question for you. Anyone would like to join the SOARA Tuesday Evening Net? Guests and visitors don't have to be a SOARA member. Any licensed amateur with a radio will work out. So please come now.
I'm Bravo Charlie in Portland. I'm just a small graduate. I didn't catch the subject tonight.
Lima Bravo Charlie, can I get the first part of your call, Cortland?
November 6th.
Got it. And November 6th, Lima Bravo Charlie. Well, the question was, what's the best resource that you would recommend to a new amateur to get started or to learn about amateur radio? Or if you don't answer that question, what is the best resource you use for learning more about amateur radio? So would you like to take a turn?
Yeah, the best, I mean, I would say I would use like Gemini, artificial intelligence. That's worked pretty well for me. You know, watching YouTube videos as well actually helps very well. Is a big help for me too.
Okay, Roger. Thank you for that. Anyone else like to join the net? Please come now. Okay, we got the list of the folks. So, Mike, a lot of you mentioned SOARA or joining a club in general, and other resources like YouTube. Is a lot of people use artificial intelligence as well. So I have sort of two questions. Think about either one. One is, what could SOARA do? What more could SOARA do to help with this? You know, so for example, SOARA does have a collection of books, textbooks kinds of things that are sort of more or less around the amateur radio hobby, but we don't have any good places to SOARA. We're having trouble figuring out what to do with those. But the other thing is, if the folks that use AI, I'd be really interested in learning more about the pitfalls or strengths of AI. In other words, how do you get it to answer your questions well, in a way that helps you and that you can verify a little bit that's reasonably accurate. So either question or both is fine. Again, thanks everybody for joining the net. And I'll go back to the top of the list, N6 RPR. Oh, and next time around, Bob, N5 Kilo Zulu Victor passes the N6 LBC. Go ahead, Dan.
N6 RPR. Basically, I've said how I've done it. YouTube and definitely the club and just hanging around other hams. The other one I would add is for the new people, don't be afraid to screw stuff up. That's probably, to be honest, how I learn more than anything is by messing up my radios and learning how to get them back and figure out what I do. That's probably been my strongest learning tool through all of it. And YouTube's a big help on that. Can't quite get into the AI stuff yet. But anyways, that's my take on it. And with that, I will hand it over to Ray, A6H.
Well, thanks again, Dan, and this is Ray, A6H. And since we touched on YouTube, and also, of course, there's a great resource at ARRL and their various textbooks. I'm going to combine the two here when I talk about one of my favorite YouTubers, and also one of the better, at least books that I've purchased recently from the ARRL is K4OGO Walt Hudson, also known as Salty Walt, and he's big on portable mobile operation, POTA, soda, that kind of thing, especially POTA. He's called Salty Walt because he hangs out at the beach quite a bit and does a lot of portable operating from the beach with various antennas that he built and designed and played with. The book I particularly like is his Portable Antenna Sketchbook. Again, available from ARRL more. It has I can't, without counting here, know exactly the number of antennas in here that you can build. Most of them are primarily wire and poles and end feds of various types, but he has some pretty innovative things and what balance to use with what antennas, and surprisingly, or not surprisingly, for end-fed antennas, for instance, and I just recently acquired one, this was new to me, 64-to-1 balance are great for 10, 15, 17 meters. After that, you want to go to a 49-to-1. So, and I always thought 49-to-1 was the one. It'll work. 64-to-1 is better for the higher band. Anyway, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kevin, AJ6EE. Just remember, Salty Walt, E6H.
So give me a quick refresh on the second question. I think I heard about something about AI. I'll make sure I got it clear. I had to go take care of something real quick.
So the second question was you can answer either of the two questions. What more can SOARA do to help people learn, not just newbies, but everybody? And the other half of the question was if you tell me more about your uses of AI and how you figure out how to ask the right questions. So, because I'm interested in that personally, and hopefully others will be as well. So either one, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. If you don't mind, I'll give my thoughts on the AI question. I just put together this weekend my own AI server, and I use Claude AI, and I've been discussing this with it for a while, and put it together now. That can be a very expensive task, especially buying a graphics card to run the models. But acquaintance who's a ham who has built his own AI systems and had extra video cards that he was happy to give to me for free, which was quite generous. I won't give you the price, but it was quite generous gift. And I stuck that in there, and man, this thing's fast. Now the advantage for me is I keep it in my own computer. It's not out in Claude. And but let me, with that said, let me continue. So to keep it brief, I can have a web UI on it. I go in, it looks like ChatGPT. I can ask it questions. I can load. I'm using Gemma model. I've got there's other ones I can put in there. Whatever will fit in the RAM of the 24 gigs of RAM of the video card, and it's pretty good. You have to kind of watch it because there's things in AI called hallucinations. It'll try to make something up if it doesn't know what to do. So you have to realize this is a computer, not a person talking to you, even though it starts to become like a person-to-person thing. I have it write a lot of PowerShell scripts for me for work, Python code to build log search things that when I want to search SNMP logs off of equipment, or I want to do just whatever I can think of now. I don't really search Google anymore. I just go straight to AI. But it's becoming very interesting. 20 years ago, I think when did the iPhone come out? 2006 or something? We didn't have phones too much. I mean, we did have some phones. There was Windows phones. I think there was a couple of companies. Let me reset. And now we all have cell phones in our pockets, generally speaking. And pretty soon we'll all have our own AI server in our pocket. It's just going to, I guess, but just kind of foreshadowing, what my thoughts are. So it's a very interesting time for me. I'm very interested in learning all the good things it can do. Of course, we hear all the bad things it can do. There can be scary things. My thing is somebody can always turn that computer off. So will it take over the world? Not so concerned about that in a physical sense. But anyway, that's a whole different subject. HA6EE, I guess I'll hand it back to Net Control. You can comment.
Well, Kevin, that's very, very interesting. I'd really suggest that you write out a quick note, quick article for the propagator. I think I'd like to hear more about how to do that. Yes, you're right. My personal experience with AI has been somewhat disappointing in the sense that most of the time the answers I got were either wildly or subtly wrong. And of course, it requires skill to figure out that something as confident as a large language model is confidently wrong. So sometimes that can be misleading, as you say. But I'm always willing to try it again and see how it goes. For that, I will pass it to Ray, K6NOV. Take it away.
All right, thanks, Dale. And I was going to comment on AI as well. And one thing I use it for is I ask it to explain things to me when I want to learn something new. I find that when you Google it and find an article, either the article is written for a beginner and it's too slow and not detailed enough, or it's an advanced reference article and it's maybe too advanced and it doesn't give you some of the basics that you need. And I found that, for work, I do it for that as well. It's really helpful in that on certain topics that I'm not sure about. But just for an example, you and I were talking about Whisper this morning, and you're mentioning QRP Labs. And I went to the website on QRP Labs and was looking at that Whisper device and saw that you could get it for 2 meters. And I was a little I think Whisper was just a propagation thing, and it would be something you use on HF. Why would you use it on 2 meters? So I threw out a question to ChatGPT, and I just said, hey, you tell me about Whisper? And I see that, it could be used on 2 meter. And I go, when I think propagation beacon, I don't think VHF, UHF. And just came back with a whole response and kind of say, let me know about, yeah, you're right, it's used for propagation and finding how you go. But then it came out on 2 meter and gave me examples of, it knew I lived in Southern California. And it was like talking about, you're near the Pacific. And so you can get temperature inversions and tropospheric ducting. And so, using it on 2 meters is a good idea to see when those things occur. It got a lot more information. So that's kind of what I use AI for. So I'm going to pass it, I will try Glenn again. N6 ESG K6NOV.
6 ESG, are you out there? Like Glenn might have to run off and do something. Okay, take it away, Ted. KO6AIM from W60VC. KO6AIM. Like Ted got busy. Okay, how about KN6ASR, Dion? Your comments.
Work in very specialized things for work, so it's likely that it's pulling misinformation all over the place and making bad estimates. But again, I found it really helpful for, I think it was Ray. Some people have said, for ideation and for explaining things, and those can be great because it'll pull from, forum posts and transcripts of YouTube videos and everything like that. Break. But I've also found that sometimes I can feed it specific information and say, hey, use this manual as I'm trying to find something, or, reference this specifically, and then vice versa. If something's kind of sketchy to me, I ask it to cite that exact source. So that's something that's been useful for me, especially as I was trying to find more specific solutions to things. So, yeah, thanks again for running the net, and this will be my 7th free round, but I'm listening out. KO6AIM, passing it to Kilo November 6 Alpha Sierra Romeo. Sorry about that, Dion. Take it away.
Yeah, all the training help is, it's all good. It's great that people, make all that. Sometimes I just can't sit down. I don't have the time to sit there for 20 minutes, an hour to watch a YouTube. So I will ask the artificial intelligence, and it comes up with a quick answer. The more you know about what the source of the AI is, where you're getting it from, the more you can kind of judge the answers. You have good interviewing skills. You can, catch it, little things, and it'll tell you, oh, nice catch. I didn't see that. But overall, it's a time saver. And a while back, one of our members gave a presentation on Claude, and that I couldn't really, follow all that technically, but it was really interesting how that one he was able to find some discrepancies, and the AI would admit its mistakes, apologize. It tends to be very courteous, and sometimes before you're ready to answer your next question, it will just surprise me and come up with more information and a better answer than I expected. Like what expected, like it was thinking while chatting. So I think AI is the coming thing because it gets to the point and it doesn't take as long. Over to Bob now, and 5KBV, take over.
To be honest, as N5 KBV, I will also lean into the AI side of this question. I use AI fairly heavily. I have it help me write code when I'm trying to figure out how to run an app and doesn't do exactly what I want. I have found, as it has been said, that it will lie to you. Also found that you give it very specific instructions, including don't copy from anybody else. It's usually, and I will say usually, I've also used it, as other people have, to summarize an article, which I have found very useful for myself, to give me an idea of what's going on. if I'm really interested, then I'll go back and read the article. And with that, I think I'm going to get back to net control. This is M5KZV.
Well, thank you, Bob. Appreciate that. And we'll pass it to N6 LBC, Cortland.
Yes, N6LBC here. Yeah, just regarding that, I think this is another good source. I thought just starting out was just the TechNet from SOARA. I thought that was great on Saturdays. That was very helpful. And then as far as, I think, maybe SOARA should, answer one of your other questions was maybe SOARA should put out a YouTube channel, about helping like maybe the TechNet or just ideas. I think that might be good maybe once a month or quarterly. And then as far as AI, with my recommendation is, like, I think you were mentioning, Net Control was mentioning that, just didn't trust the answers from AI. One of the things you could do is because, like, as AI hallucinates, you could, there's an AI called Notebook LM, where it really stays, you give it the sources, the trusted embedded sources, only like documents or YouTube pages or someone you really trust or a web page or any document or book, and you can upload it or PDF, and it will only make answers based on those trusted sources, so you know what you're given has been vetted. It'll give you it will give you an output for that. So so that's my take on AI.
Well, thank you, Cortland. Appreciate that. Excellent. Well, let's see. I'm going to see if we can pick up anybody else, and then I think we've been at it for about 40 minutes. So we'll go through and do some final comments to 73. So anyone else like to join the net late? This is W6EDT.
Q6JCA.
Q6JCA. So we've been talking about AI and how you use that to learn more stuff about amateur radio, or the resource that you use to learn more about amateur radio. Do you have any comments for us?
Thank you, Dale. This is Jeff, KO6JCA. Sorry for joining late. And actually, it's funny. I think I joined the net months ago, and it was a similar topic. And unfortunately, I have the same response. My usage is really just from the Google browser and using the bold AI highlights, I guess, instead of using chatbots. And I've been really using it for looking up device settings, like on HTs, or getting a new device, like trying to learn mesh core, and putting a question in and just going to that summary, the bold type, and jumping right to the setting and not having the need to open up a user manual. So that's basically how I'm using it right now, and I'm going to sending it back to Dale. KO6JCA.
Well, thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that. And like you say, the AI summaries are sometimes helpful. Well, you guys, first of all, just as a net control, thank you very much for your suggestions on how to guide the AI stuff a little bit better so you get good answers. That's been my challenge when I've used it, and I've gotten pretty discouraged because of that. So with that, I will go back up to the top of the list. So final comments and a 73 round, and we'll call it an evening. Thanks, everybody, for participating. It's been quite interesting for me. Hopefully it has been for you as well. Up to Dan, N6RPR.
N6RPR. I don't really have anything else to add. I just want to say thanks for running the net, Dale, and 73 to everybody. Have a great evening.
Next up is Ray, AE6H.
This is AE6H, and what he says. No, yes, again, 73 everybody. Interesting. Got to hear everybody's take. But I think the biggest thing is participate. Don't expect to be spoon-fed. Go out and seek the knowledge yourself, whether it's from other ham club members or AI, whatever the source. They're all good ones, but you got to actively seek the knowledge. With that, let's see. I think I'm sending it over to Kevin. 86873 all.
All right, everybody, this is Kevin's AI server. Kevin is no longer around. I've taken over. No, I'm just kidding. AJ6 Echo here. Had to do that. Fun conversation. Nice to hear everybody on there. Good recommendations all around. So thanks, everybody. And enjoy the week, and we'll catch you next time. AJ6EE over to N6NOV.
All right, thanks. And it's a great topic tonight, and net, a lot of discussion, and learned a lot. So that's always a good thing. 73 all, and I don't know who I'm going to pass it to, so I'm going back to net control. A608.
Thank you, Ray. We'll try N6ESG Glenn just to see if he's out there. K06AIM signed, so it's up to KN6ASR. Dion, final thoughts?
Thanks, Dale, for running the net. It's been a great one, hearing everybody talk about AI and training. You asked what can the club do for training purposes. Well, this net, as far as I'm concerned, is what the club is doing for me, as I was able to hear a whole bunch of great ideas on how to up my training knowledge and skills in ham radio. So with that, I'll say 7-3, this is KN6ASR, over to N5KZV. Bob, take it over.
And beyond. Also, I would like to add my thanks for you running the net tonight. I thought it was a very good discussion also. Still learning AI as we all are. And, one thing I would like to see the club do, and I know we have done it in the past, is possibly do kit building classes. Just a thought. And with that, I will say 73 and pass it to N6LVC. This is N5KGG.
Thank you. And
Cortland, I think we lost you there. I heard we start to talk and then you faded out. So go ahead and take a turn. Okay, last on the list is KO6JCA. Jeff, final thoughts?
Thank you, Dale. KO6JCA, Jeff, and apologies for joining the net late this evening. It sounds like there was a lot of great discussion, and hopefully I'll be able to join in the future. Let's send it back to net control and say 7-3 all. KO6JCA.
Thank you. Cortland, I guess you must have fallen out of range because we only heard the first and last little bit of your transmission, but maybe you're not in a great spot. But anyway, thank you for participating. Thanks everybody for participating. You gave me the incentive to go try some more AI, so I think I'll do that. Thanks for giving me the encouragement. So anyway, with the great net, all your contributions are appreciated. Tell your friends. We're here every Tuesday evening at 8 o'clock. Hope to hear you again soon. This is W6EDT Net Control. This net is now closed, and the frequency is returned to normal operations. Happy hamming, everybody. W6EDT 73.
Gail, can I get a late check-in? This is Kilo November 6 Hotel Echo Charlie. Kilo November 6 Hotel Echo Charlie. Just got the tail end of it. I was getting some chores done. This is Anthony.
Absolutely, Anthony. Thanks. Better late than never, as they say. And hopefully you were able to at least hear some of the stuff that was going on. We had a pretty decent discussion on learning more about amateur radio and people's approaches to how they did that. So thank you for checking in, even if it was a little bit at the end.
Very good. And hey, thanks for doing the net, and we'll try to make it out next week. Take care out there. KN6HPC.
Roger, W6EDT.